Okay, Jamie, let's discuss that match last night now, shall we? Because it meant a lot really for the title race. It feels like it could really be quite a significant moment in terms of this title race. Did it feel like Aston Villa, particularly looking at this table now, really needed to get something there?
Well, I've got quite a few pals who are Aston Villa fans, and I don't think they ever really, in their heart of hearts, felt they were in the title race. They're delighted to be where they are at the table at the moment. But, you know, the top two certainly have a lot more firepower than Aston Villa do, and a lot more squad depth, and we saw that last night in that performance. Yes, it was a real statement win from Arsenal. You know, Aston Villa are a very good side in an incredible run of form, 11 wins in a row. So to win in the manner in which Arsenal did last night, you just heard Jamie Carragher say to do it without Declan Rice, who's arguably the most important player as well. It was a statement win. If you win 4-1 against Manchester City, it's more of a statement, but still to beat Aston Villa by 4-1, having not really been playing that well of late either, Arsenal, they've been the performances have been a bit meh, but the results have been excellent. Last night, the two came together. It was an excellent result and an excellent performance. It was ruthless. Every chance they had, they took. And they underlined the amount of depth they have in that squad, Arsenal. So I think certainly Manchester City will have sat up and taken notice of that Arsenal performance last night. It was incredibly impressive from start to finish.
We can hear from Arteta as well, can't we, on what this means for the title race?
We have some very tough matches. Injuries, but the players are so willing, so winning helps all that, you know, all the sacrifices, commitment that you put in gets reflected in results and great performances, and that's so satisfying. But we know it's still so much to play for. It's a great way to end the year, that's for sure.
Well, that's just it, isn't it? Nice to head into the new year, top of the table, 5 clear. Jamie Carragher was saying last night that when he's fully fit, Gabriel Jesus should be starting ahead of Victor Gyökeres. Did he prove that last night?
2025 has been a very difficult year for Gabriel Jesus, coming back from that horrific injury. Some lovely sort of numbers to underline how nice a story it was for him last night. 55 seconds after coming off the bench is when he scored last night after being brought on, and took his goal so well as well. Really nicely taken goals, real striker's finish from Gabriel Jesus. And 363. We talked just a few minutes ago how we like our numbers. 363 days since his last goal came against Brentford on New Year's Day in 2025. So, look, for Gabriel Jesus, lovely to be back in an Arsenal shirt and scoring again. And Victor Gyökeres hasn't exactly hit the ground running since he arrived in the Premier League. There's clearly a tremendously talented player there, but what a nice ace to have up your sleeve, Gabriel Jesus, and Kai Havertz to come back from injury soon as well. So Arsenal have got strength and depth. They're scoring from everywhere. Martin Ødegaard seems to be hitting his straps again as well. So they've got so many options. They seem to be the complete side. There are very few chinks in that armour at the moment. And Jamie Carragher, as you're right, was saying that when this man is up, fully fit and firing, he should be starting ahead of Victor Gyökeres.
Jay Bothroyd, good morning. They'll win this quite easily, says Paul Merson. Do you agree with that?
I think Mercer's playing some mind games. He's a Chelsea fan, isn't he? So, but I'm taking it easy. I'm not getting too excited. You know, last night was a great performance. It showed a message of intent. You know, obviously Arsenal was out without Declan Rice. That is, you know, he's a massive player for Arsenal Football Club. But ultimately, it was a great performance. It's great to see Jesus back in the goals as well. Since he's come back, he's been frightening, by the way.
So is it? You said earlier on that you don't think it's that much of a statement win. Why not?
I think it's a very, very good win. I think the reason why people are saying it's a statement win is because Villa have done so well. They've overachieved in what they've done this season. I mean, they've won 17 games out of 20, which is remarkable, really. But ultimately, Arsenal are expected to beat teams like Aston Villa. The big tests are going to come against Man City. Man City, that game there, especially that game, if it stays the same right now, Man City win, it's going to be 2 points difference. But that game's at the 18th of April. And I know the game is at the Emirates. That's great. But it's Man City still. Man City are firing. They're scoring goals. They look a bit like the Man City of old. So that is going to be more of a statement game to me. The Liverpool game next week as well. That's more of a statement game. Even though Liverpool have been, you know, off it this year, they've still got the players to hurt teams.
Yeah, the game's at the Etihad, by the way, so it is.
Oh, sorry, yeah,
it is
Etihad,
away, which
sorry,
can make it even.
Sorry,
makes it
my mistake.
even harder. But that's the last of the kind of the teams around them.
Yeah.
Because everyone else, as Jamie Carragher, I'm sorry, Paul Merson was saying there, the rest of them are all at home.
Yeah.
So that's the one. The Arsenal need to have. At the moment, they've got 5 points gap, but Manchester City play tomorrow, which could back to 2. Do they need more than a 2-point lead going into that game in April?
I mean, you definitely would like it, just in case, because like you said there, at the Etihad, you know, Man City are playing really well now, scoring goals. Their big players are playing really well. Cherki's arrived and doing ridiculous things. There's talk that Semenyo is going to be going there. It looks like he is. So, again, they got more quality coming in. I just feel like last night was a great performance, and it showed how good Arsenal are. You know, there's levels to this. Arsenal are a different level to Aston Villa, and that's no disrespect to Aston Villa, because Aston Villa are a fantastic team. They got a fantastic manager. You know, everything about them is really, really good. They're on the ascendancy. But Arsenal, their direct competition is Man City and teams like Liverpool, and you know, that's the teams that they're going to need to beat, starting next week with Liverpool, and then obviously that City game.
Well, Arsenal have had the results of late, if not necessarily the performances. What a time for them to put in, particularly that second half performance, Danny.
Absolutely, their performance was a big statement. It was powerful, full of quality, showed their strength in depth. And let's not forget they didn't have Declan Rice, one of the most important players. But I thought in the first half, when Villa were pretty good actually, and caused Arsenal problems, that partnership that's back together of Gabriel and Saliba gave Arsenal the platform to then go on to have that wonderful second half performance. Now, Villa played through the press beautifully at times in the first half, and look at the pace of Gabriel and Saliba there to then get Rodgers to play a poor ball, and Nketiah sees out the danger. Again, you can see Villa waiting to win the ball back on the transition, which they do really well, and then they play through. And once they do, because Arsenal go after teams at home, which is right as well, because they really dominate teams at home generally, when they get into these positions, the two are always close together, they're always communicating, the distances are good. And here, basically, the angle's really difficult there for Watkins to do. And because Saliba's so patient, he's just got this calmness, he doesn't panic. There they are on the press that we're talking about, they commit men forward. And the reason they do it is because they believe and trust their defenders to play one-on-one and to cope. And there's none better really than Saliba, you know, when he's on top of his game. Right position again, he's got the athleticism and pace, calm, no danger. Okay, the ball could have been better. But time and time again, we saw them break on Arsenal, and the Arsenal back four don't panic. I mean, this here from Saliba, he doesn't know that this is going to be given a couple of inches offside. Look at this. That is just phenomenal. And that's what you get when you get those two together. You get the athleticism, the calmness, and the fear factor. I think it gives them a great platform to really go after teams. And of course, the game they lost at Villa, neither of them were playing, of course.
Yeah. And while Gabriel and Saliba provide that platform for Arsenal on the pitch, there's also the way in which the goal was conceded that allowed them to take advantage of the fact that Villa were then trying to get back into the game. And it was an error from Emi Martinez.
Yeah, and it was Gabriel. It was one of the two of them getting in the way, making a use of himself. And
as he always does.
As he does, yeah. And Unai Emery says it himself. It changed the game, and that's what got the ball rolling. And we knew it was coming. We've seen it before at Brentford this season. We've seen it at Leeds, and we saw it on Saturday at Chelsea, where Martinez just gets preoccupied with the players around him. He's got two there, he's fighting there, and he can't come for the ball because he's just worried about what's around him. And again tonight, he's preoccupied, he's worried, and from there, you know he's going to be there. You know he's going to be there. Saliba's around you. You can see him, you can touch him. And as a keeper, if you're going up amongst bodies and you're going to bring it down amongst heads, you've got to punch it. He doesn't do that. 2 minutes later, Villa react, and they've got their men in and around the players protecting Martinez. Now, this has been going on for weeks. This has been going on since the start of the season. So I don't know why it takes mid-game against Arsenal for it to happen again 3 days after it happening at the weekend for them to react. It seems like it's a bit of a miss, and the manager said, it cost them.
That said, it was a stunning performance from Arsenal in the second half in particular. They then open up that 6-point gap over Aston Villa. Suddenly it starts to look a lot more comfortable. And yes, Manchester City have got a game in hand that they'll play on New Year's Day. But it feels like a big one, that in terms of the title race. Have they seen off one of the main contenders?
Not just yet, but they've shown everybody they mean business, and a couple of bad results or a couple of draws and one loss doesn't define their season. Look, they're wonderfully physically, defensively brilliant. There's been a little bit of criticism recently on lack of creativity and too many goals off set plays, but they've got so many players now who are fighting for positions in the forward areas. You're going to see an uplift, I think, and more intensity from the forward players. Jesus is coming on scoring. We don't think we saw Eza today. You know, they've got so much talent. I think they'll just spur each other on to do more and more, and it's a big day for them and a big statement.
I think each win like this, each big win they have, is a massive hurdle, particularly at the Emirates, where they get really, really nervous.
Yeah.
They're waiting for that trophy, and that feeds onto the team. And that, you saw it previous seasons. We saw it last season, the Champions League. They get nervous. So big statement wins like this, big moments. You look in the next one, possibly the League Cup coming up against Chelsea. That's another big statement in there. It's going to be each one brings on that little bit more belief.
So should we end with the side that are top of the Premier League tonight, and a big win for Arsenal over Aston Villa. Of course, Arsenal have been missing players in recent weeks, without Rice tonight, but then able to welcome back other players. Where do you see them now? Because of course Manchester City are hot on their tail, and Aston Villa have been keeping that pace. A big win for the Gunners tonight.
Yeah, look, I think Arsenal are okay. Look, they've got City on their shoulder, which is never appealing, with Pep there and Haaland and other players that have won many, many titles and Champions League, so they've been around the block. But they're not going to have it all their own way. They're not going to have it easy, and to win your first title is going to be a massive struggle, let's be clear. But they're in that struggle, and they're competing in that struggle. And tonight's a good night for them to win 4-1 against Villa, a team that are in great form and a good run of performances and results. Declan Rice is the one player that you look at that I think if he was missing for a longer period of time, it would cause a real issue. But I've said for a number of weeks now with Arsenal, I am not listening to one single excuse. They've built a squad that is resilient, that is capable of coping with injuries, that's got 2 or 3 players in each position now, that's had a lot of money spent on it, and it's been cured over a long period of time by Mikel Arteta, who's been given a serious amount of time in the job. This has got to be the season where they lift silverware. They've got the Carabao Cup semi-final coming up in a few weeks. They've got obviously the Champions League, but the Premier League title is the one. It is the one they have to win. That's the one that's going to really change the goal, or move the goalposts and be a shift. Sorry, what's that?
Well, we're just waiting to hear from Ruben Amorim, because it would be nice to find out about the Xerxes situation before we go clarify it.
Yeah, but going back to Arsenal, no excuses. Get over the line in games where you don't play well. They've done that, but they've also, to be fair, I think played well at times this season. So for me, I think they're on track. It's going to be a struggle. It's going to be tight with City. City going to cause them some problems. City might even pop in front of them from time to time. But I do think Arsenal have got what it takes to win a Premier League title, and it's important that they do, I think, for all concerned there.
Arsenal's win against Aston Villa yesterday was not just another 3 points. It was a statement. Facing an in-form Aston Villa, Arsenal knew this would be a real test of their title credentials. Villa came into the match full of confidence, but Arsenal rose to the occasion with authority, securing a 4-1 victory that sent a clear message to the rest of the Premier League. The game started competitively, with both sides showing intent, but once Arsenal found their rhythm, the difference in quality became obvious. Their movement off the ball, quick passing, and ruthless finishing overwhelmed Villa, especially in the second half. Arsenal didn't just score goals, they controlled the tempo, pressed intelligently, and punished every mistake. What made the win even bigger was the timing. With the title race tightening and pressure mounting, Arsenal responded in the best way possible by dominating a strong opponent. Beating Villa by such a margin isn't easy, and doing it convincingly shows maturity and belief within the squad. In a season where fine margins matter, this was more than a win. It was a reminder that Arsenal are not just competing, they are serious contenders.